Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is Medicom Toys Mafex Boba Fett Empire Strikes Back version in 4 minutes or less. Mafex Boba Fett is a 6-inch action figure produced by Japanese toy company Medicom Toys, who have a distinguished, albeit brief, history of making incredibly detailed, incredibly articulated figures from a variety of movie properties like Fox's Spider-Man, Warner Brothers' Batman vs. Superman, and of course, Disney's Frozen and Star Wars. Like Hasbro, Bandai, and Revoltech before them, I'm here to ask Medicom Toys the most important question of any Star Wars toy line, and that's, how's your Boba Fett? Short answer, it's good. It's so good. Long answer, it's so good that I don't want you to pay attention to the words I use to say that it is good. I want you to understand the feeling that I'm putting into them, because the words that I want to use to describe it just can't communicate the true nature of its goodness. Producer Greg asked me, how good is this figure? Oh, it's so good. It's hard for me to not have an emotional reaction to all things Fett. He is, for no other reason than he just is, my favorite character in the Star Wars mythology. It probably has something to do with the lack of development to any degree in the original trilogy, allowing me to fill in almost all of the details myself while collecting action figures. Fett is a true mystery of a mystery man, especially if you ignore the prequels, which I do. But for the sake of professionalism, for the sake of this review, I will do my best to be objective. When my eyeballs are stimulated by the light waves returned to them by this object, they are compelled to focus on the distinct sharpness of the sculpted surface. The wrinkles in the fabrics contrast against the flat, hard surfaces of the armor in a very believable, very realistic way, which my brain then interprets as a miniature representation of Boba Fett, which appears to possess a degree of life that is not inherent to the inanimate nature of its parts. The combination of detailed sculpt work and paint application at this scale result in a figure that fools me into thinking that in total, it is more than what I know it to be, that is plastic and paint. The joints of the figure are very cleverly hidden, which adds to the sense of realism. However, in some cases this can be taken a bit too far, as it tends to limit the degree to which the figure can be posed. There is a bit of swivel to the arm at the shoulder joint, but the lack of a true bicep swivel is detrimental to the posability of this figure. And it seems odd that there isn't a true bicep swivel, since there is an obvious seam in the sleeves of the flight suit to hide the joint. While the elbows and knees are double jointed, the armor and flight suit details limit the real range of movement in these joints, making them about as effective as single joints. And even though his shoulder pads prevent his arms from going too far out to the side or up in any range, that's pretty much how it was for the actor in the suit on set, so it's not something that bothers me. When the limitations of the figure are in service of realism and they function the same way they would in real life, that's a net positive result. I don't need to be able to put Fett in a pose with his hands raised above his head like he's catching a football or anything. Or at least I didn't, until now. Boba Fett comes with his signature EE3 blaster rifle and pistol, both featuring the same kind of attention to minute detail that the figure has. And those details are why this figure stands out from every other Boba Fett released in this scale. The battle scarring on the armor, the colored buttons on his wrist rocket launcher, the silver buckles on his belt, the knee darts, the fact that there is an actual chin and suggestion of a head under the helmet, even though you can't take the helmet off. Everything is so sharply rendered, everything is so well proportioned to the actor in the suit. Maybe a cloth cape would have been nice, maybe a slightly longer hose that didn't keep slipping out of the hole on his right elbow, but no, I am not playing the nitpick game on this one. If you're not a Star Wars fan, if you're not a Boba Fett fan, if you prefer the hyper-articulation and proportions of the Revoltech or the custom paint job you gave the Bandai model kit, then this figure is an easy pass. But if you want the best out-of-the-box, most accurate Empire Strikes Back version of Boba Fett, then this figure is a must-have. So buy it if you see it, and if you see two, leave one for the next collector. Thanks for watching. Hit like, make sure you subscribe, share it with other collectors, and let us know in the comments below if you can imagine an action figure being released that would finally fully satisfy your need to collect your ultimate holy grail, and if so, what would that be? I thought this figure might qualify, but it won't stop me from buying the next Captain America or Snake Eyes, or who am I kidding? It's not even going to stop me from buying the next Mafex Boba Fett.